Welcome to the Holistic Me podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Bravo. As a licensed acupuncturist and holistic health and wellness professional, I spend my day providing service and care to others. Over the years, my own self-care practices have ebbed and flowed, having a profound effect on not only my physical body, but my mental, emotional wellness and my spirit body. I am here to share my story, my experiences, and my continued journey on the path to exploring and uncovering the greatest version of myself through heart-centered connection, healing, self-love, and authenticity. I am beyond grateful to share this journey with you. My intention is that my story medicine may help at least one other soul on this collective experience we are sharing to shine their light bright for all the world to receive. Namaste. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Jessica Bravo, and this is episode 9 of the Holistic Me podcast, where I share my story, my experiences, and my continued journey on the path to exploring and uncovering the greatest version of myself through heart-centered connection, healing, self-love, and authenticity. My intention is that my story may help at least one of you souls out there listening on this collective experience we are sharing, so that you may shine your light bright for all the world to receive. So thank you for being here with me today. In today's episode, I am going to share my experience on something I have been exploring over the past several months, but even more so since the start of the new decade. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about being in alignment and connecting with guides, angels, and ancestors. A little bit different from some of the things we've spoken about before. So, sometime last year, I heard a wonderful podcast episode on the Positive Head podcast. Shout out to the oh so awesome Mr. Brandon Beecham, one of my inspirations for starting a podcast in the first place. Brandon, if you're listening, thank you for all the amazing content you put out on a daily basis. You were awesome. So on this particular episode, Brandon was interviewing Shaman Direct, and it was a really, really cool episode. One thing Shaman Direct shared was how to tap into and connect with your guides or the spirits around you. And I've known for years now that I had a presence with me of some sort, helping me on my journey. Call it guardian angel or spirit guide. I really wasn't sure back then, but I knew that they were there. A number of years ago, it was actually when I was in school, I had a good friend of mine who let me know that there was a family member who was sort of with me or was one of my spirit guides. And I later discovered that my grandmother's grandmother, who had raised her, was the town medicine woman or shaman and midwife in her country, and she was a powerful presence, and she did not mess around. Okay, and I attribute this connection to be part of the reason I feel so connected to the world of healing arts and herbal medicine, and it's in my blood. So I have a sense that she is one of the guides or one of the presence that I feel with me. So what was interesting about this particular episode was that Shaman Direct gave a tip on how to connect with your guides and feel their presence physically. it was fun to make that connection and learn how I feel their presence and their communication coming through. And for me, the way that I feel it, and I'll briefly explain more or less how he shared to do this exercise, but just to share, what I feel is a chill or a sensation of my hair standing on end that runs across the back of my neck and down my arms without giving a sensation of feeling cold, but just kind of that sensation you get when you get chills where you feel your hair stand up. So that's my experience, and others that I've spoken with, um, they get the sensation in different ways. Whether it be in the palms of your hands, things feeling warmer, or whatever it might be. We all have a way of feeling it, and so the exercise. And if you want to listen to the episode, you can go um, to the Positive Head podcast and search for Shaman Direct interview there. He has a website as well. I believe it's positivehead.com. And you can find that episode, and it's a relatively long episode, but you can find where he talks about this and describes it in greater detail. But I'll give you my kind of synopsis. It's been a while since I've heard it. I didn't listen to it again recently, but the idea is to basically put your hand out and invite or ask those that are present with you to make you aware or help you to feel their presence, um, and to invite them to share their presence in your hand. And so you may feel a sensation, whether it be warmth or swirling. I know when I work with patients with energy work, I do tend to feel almost like wind blowing on my hands. I apologize if there's some background noise. I'm recording in the office today. So anyways, so you may have a sensation of feeling wind on your hand, or a swirling sensation, or some sort of vibrating or tingling that you may feel. And then slowly connect deeper and deeper and allow, you may just do this for a minute or two, but over time you can deepen that connection and allow or invite in to feel their presence in whatever form is meant for you to feel. So you can invite it to be extended past your hands. And that's, just based on your own personal journey, what you're comfortable with, what you want to explore. And so, let's see, I wrote down some notes here of what I wanted to share. So let me get back on track. Anyways, many of you know that my grandmother transitioned from this physical plane last August. I've shared that and spoken about her numerous times so far on the podcast. And after her passing, I was inspired to take action and even begin sharing through this podcast medium. And if you listen back to the first episode, I share how that all came about. But what's interesting is that my connection has felt deeper to the spirit world now, and I have felt called more recently to use my oracle or tarot decks more regularly. And it's interesting. I keep using the word interesting. I find it all very interesting, clearly. But I have had this deck. It's the Osho Zen Tarot deck, and I've had it for maybe 6 years now. And I used it on and off very regularly over the years, but this past year, and especially over the past several months, I've used them even more so. And then between Christmas and New Year's, we went, and my husband and I took our son to this shop that's in one of the neighboring towns, and we were looking around. Our son really loves crystals and stones, so we always, take him out to look for new ones so that he can add to his collection, and even for myself or for my husband. And anyways, we were browsing around. We hadn't been to the store before, and um, this deck popped out at me. It it wasn't really like front and center or anything. It was on one of the lower shelves, kind of tucked back a little bit. I was looking around, and then it just like jumped out, like it was calling me essentially. And the deck was called Angels and Ancestors Oracle Card Deck. And so I bought a new deck. I went home with it that day, and I've been working with that one too as well, and even started sharing it over the past week or two on some Facebook Lives as well, pulling cards for those who would like a card pulled. And I shared it. I went prior to starting to share live. I'd gone home again for the first time, back home to Miami to see my family for the first time since August, since my grandmother passed, and I even shared with them there, shared my cards and read with them, with some family and friends. And so it's been quite a powerful experience to share and connect with these cards. And so when I do use my cards, I call in my guides, my angels, and my ancestors, because I know now that I have all three with me. And more recently, discovering that there are the ascended masters that are also available to us. On New Year's Eve, I did a reading for myself that was quite powerful. And on New Year's Day, I did another, which was even more powerful, to the point that I was in tears as I pulled each card, um, and, turned it over. And I've never had an experience like that before. So clearly, I know that there is strong connection and communication that is coming through and revealing itself to me, which is really beautiful. And it's only getting deeper and easier to flow with that communication and that connection that's happening. I am also more open and receptive to the messages that they have for me, my guides, my angels, my ancestors. I know that I'm divinely guided on my journey, and that I always have been, and now I know how to tap into that. And it's not even just using the cards, but also just, if I'm unsure about something, I can ask the question in my mind and receive an answer intuitively. And we all have that intuitiveness that lives within all of us. It's just whether we want to tap in and listen. And so I know part of it too is not just my guides, but my higher self that is connected to source and knowing. And so yeah, I would love to hear from you all. Those of you that feel called to share, you can connect with me on social media or send me an email. Um, and that's my social media accounts. I have a couple that you can connect through, Instagram or Facebook. You can find me on Instagram on my personal account at Yes Inspired, or at Bravo Holistic Healing. And I'm available through both, and you can find me that way on Facebook as well. Jessica Bravo for personal, and Bravo Holistic Healing on the business side. But I'd love to connect and hear from all of you. Have you connected with your spirit guides or angels or ancestors before? Is that something that you practice regularly? How do you experience it? What do you feel when you do that? Um, Do you use any oracle cards? Do you use tarot cards? And what other allies, such as crystals or plants, do you call in to facilitate your journey or your experience? I'm really curious. I'm, connecting with more people that do this and experiencing that magic in their life. And I'd love to hear from those of you out there listening. And I think collectively there is this increase in experiencing these connections to the divine or spiritual realm. We are all intuitive, like I said, and connected to source energy. And it's whether we're aware or even open to connecting to it and receiving the messages or guidance that is there for us. And I can tell that since the start of this new decade, this has only heightened for me. And so I'm very excited to see where this journey takes me. Part of what I've received and that's been shared with me is that I am meant to share this experience with all of you and not keep it private to myself. At first, I was very, I pull my own cards after everyone's gone to bed, and I'm on my own, and I still practice that way for myself as far as just having that time for me, that alone time. But it's not a secret anymore. Like when I went home to visit my family, I was doing it out in the open, um, and sharing with them, not just doing it for me and keeping it to myself. But so I would love to hear. I'm here now sharing, as I've been guided to do, and I would love to hear what questions you might have, and definitely revisit this topic at a later time. I think it's something that we can, I'll probably tap into with future guests on the podcast, but also would love to hear from listeners and answer questions, or talk about something else in further depth if there's a common trend to what people are saying. So yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for connecting with me from wherever you are in the world. I love you all, and I wish you a blessed day, my friends. Namaste.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like or subscribe the Wholistic Me podcast on whatever platform you might be listening on. Available on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and many more. While you're there, don't forget to leave a review. That will help us reach more listeners just like you. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.